Parents across the United States owe $116 billion in child support. One local woman came to us looking for answers after she says she has exhausted all other efforts to get South Carolina child support enforcement to help find her ex-husband and make him pay his share of that staggering number. Katie Chantron and her ex-husband divorced in 2006. The couple has one daughter together, and with the exception of just a few payments,
I've raised her, basically by myself.
Chantron says she's never been given the money that she is owed for child support.
I mean, she hasn't been able to do some of the things that she's wanted to do because single income, single mom.
Chantron says at this point, she's almost lost hope on the more than $45,000 she's been court-ordered to receive the past 11 years.
I honestly don't see me ever getting a payment.
But while she's frustrated with her ex-husband, her real problem lies with the state agency she depends on to make sure she gets the money she's owed.
The more I read, the more I'm just shocked that anyone would let this go on for as long as it has. Any type of government, we're supposed to rely on our government and trust in our government, but when we go to them, we get no help from them at all. We get stonewalled or pushed to the side, or we'll get to you when we get to you.
But she's not about to give up on sharing what she has discovered through her experience.
And once again, South Carolina is the last state that, actually the only state. South Carolina is the only state that doesn't have this. So I think that's the problem. It's either they don't care or it's not a priority to them.
What she's referring to is an automated and centralized child support enforcement computer system. South Carolina is the only state without one. So we took her concerns to the State House to find out why. How shocking is it that South Carolina is the last state in the entire country to implement this?
I think the fact that it has taken us 30 years to do it is absolutely ridiculous.
Right now, all 46 counties in the state and the Department of Social Services use different computer systems. But the new one would change that, make it easier to find deadbeat parents, to collect the money they owe, and connect South Carolina's enforcement to other state systems. But it's taking decades to do this. In 1988, the federal government required all states to upgrade the way they handle child support enforcement, and the states were given almost 10 years to make that happen. But it never did in South Carolina. And since then, the Palmetto State has accrued over $145 million in fines, on top of millions more in project costs. Is that not negligent spending?
It is a waste of money. It's negligent spending. It's ridiculous. And every time we have a meeting, we ask, can we speed it up? Well, no, if we speed it up, then we might make a mistake. Well, how many more mistakes can we make?
It's millions of dollars that Senator Katrina Shealy says could be spent on children and families, law enforcement, or even South Carolina's crumbling roads.
How many years have we been working on this child support project?
She's part of the Senate General Committee that has taken personal responsibility for overseeing DSS's progress, getting frequent updates from the project engineer, Jimmy Early. And up until February, he has said the project is on schedule, set to be in place statewide by September 2019.
No problems at this point. Still a lot of risks, still a lot of work to be done, but nothing today that I would identify as an obstacle to keep us from hitting that time frame.
But in Senator Shealy's eyes, the damage has already been done.
So some of these questions, I don't have an answer for, because we get angry, we disagree with what they're doing, but we've wasted so much money now, you can't turn around and go back and start over again.
The project is now in the hands of its third vendor since 1995. The first company quit after tests of the system failed, locking its progress up in the court system. Then in 2007, Sabre Corporation took up the job, but that company was bought out by HP a few years later and failed to meet several deadlines, forcing DSS to fire them and stop their work yet again. Those companies did pay a large part of the fines put on our state, though, more than $85 million. But it took until 2015 to get the company we have now, Xerox. And while the project seems to be nearing an end, every day the fines continue to add up. Who is responsible for all of this? Where does the fault lie in these delays?
The fault lies on a lot of people, but it's a lot of wasted money that shouldn't have happened.
And until that new system is up and running,
Now it's just a waiting game.
we did reach out to DSS to get their side of all of this. And while we are set up to do a one-on-one interview with them tomorrow about the delays and stumbles of this project, they did send us this statement to share with you tonight. Project engineer Jimmy Early says, quote, "The new system will make non-payment of child support easier to detect and will provide new tools to encourage payment. No computer system, however, can directly impact a person's ability and willingness to pay child support or the laws in the state regarding child support. Therefore, the state will continue to see a number of non-custodial parents who elect to push the limits of the law and or disregard their obligation to pay child support. The new system may only make these parents more visible." We do have a lot more of that statement and this story online, including testimony from the DSS oversight meetings and proposed legislation that could help deadbeat parents keep their jobs to help them make those child support payments. To see all of that, just click the Investigates tab on WMBFnews.com. In part 2 of our WMBF News investigation, parents and children aren't the only ones impacted by the decades-long delays for South Carolina's new child support enforcement system. Our local court system is also feeling the effects as the number of cases it handles grows.
That's our biggest thing. That's probably about 70% of our day is child support questions.
Valentina Ransom Jenkins is the Horry County Family Court Supervisor.
And we're actually at a point with numbers where it's the highest ever.
She's been in this department for 12 years.
We are the record keepers.
And she has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly of child support cases.
This is what I tell my coworkers. Hey, we're here from 8 to 5. All we can do is what we can do. I mean, we're very diligent as to what we do. The one thing we pride ourselves on is getting problems solved.
But what would help them solve those problems is a new child support enforcement computer system, one that would make it easier to track down deadbeat parents, to collect the money they owe, and to connect with other counties and states.
In this age of technology, we have all worked on a system, or we've all used the interface. So we know that it's an easier way to pay a bill. We know that there's an easier way to access information. One of our number one goals is to get in the lead with all the other states, because we process so much and we can offer so much more.
Right now, Horry County Family Court handles more than 33,000 active child support cases. And while the system it uses now works, it doesn't make the job easy.
When we change an address, we have to literally put it in their basket. They pick it up, take it to their office, which is 45 minutes away, and then they have to key it in their system.
She's talking about South Carolina child support enforcement workers. They are the muscle behind the court system. But the lack of an automated and centralized computer interface means the information they have can sometimes be dated, making it hard to get single parents the money they are owed.
So for example, as you can see my note, it says run 157 report. That's just to remind me that I need to get them that information. But as you can see, that's April. So I'm giving them the information from March 1st to March 31st. You know, they can't tap into our AS400 to see the most current. So they would literally have to call me.
It's a team effort to get the job done.
We work very well together, basically because we have to. Because we're able to get information that they can't get, and they're able to get information we can't get.
And for them, the waiting game continues as well.
So child support is not perfect by no means. The system that we have is nowhere near perfect, but it's all we have at this point, so we try to maximize what we can do.
The latest numbers from DSS show that child support collections in March of this year totaled more than $33 million, a record for a state child support program. And Ransom Jenkins believes more parents will pay what they owe if they are given easier options to pay, which won't be available until that new system is finished. And that isn't expected until September 2019. Tonight, we're taking our questions about South Carolina's issues updating its child support enforcement computer system to the top. Project engineer Jimmy Early has only been on the job since 2015, but he's become the man who knows the most about what it will take to complete this project, which has already been delayed by decades and has cost millions in taxpayer dollars. So since you've been on the job, what have been the challenges that you've seen?
There are a lot of challenges with any project of this scope and complexity, but we have a really good partner with Xerox, who's changed their name. They're now Conduent, but they've been a good partner, and they have a lot of child support experience. They implemented the system in Delaware that we're transferring to South Carolina. They've done this in a number of different states, so they come to us with a body of knowledge and an understanding that really helps our team and the state team as we sit down and look at how we need to design and develop the system.
How have parents and children been impacted by these delays, that have left South Carolina as the last state in the country to implement this system?
Well, I certainly think there's opportunity for improvement, and we expect to see those benefits as we deliver the new system. I would say simply having one central statewide system will be a huge benefit in and of itself. Both from the county perspective and the state perspective. We'll have a more holistic view of the data. Some of the delays that we are experiencing now in exchanging information between counties and the state will be eliminated once we're in a single system.
So we talked to Senator Katrina Shealy, and she says that she believes the money that has been spent on these delays is wasteful and negligent. Do you agree?
Certainly, it's unfortunate. Again, I can't speak to the challenges and the obstacles that were encountered on the previous projects. Our focus is on making sure we deliver a system through this project. But certainly, again, that level of frustration and the money that's been spent on the project, the concerns about that, they're understandable, and we just need to make sure we don't have that conversation again during this project.
Can this process be sped up at all?
Well, we really looked at that. We looked at it hard, and anytime you look at something like this, you have to balance risk and reward. And the 3-year timeline actually is very aggressive for a project of this scope and complexity as we've talked about. And the 3-year timeline that we have in place today to design, develop, and test the system, based on what I've seen, is very much in line with what timelines you've seen in other states. So we looked at it, but we didn't feel like, given the risk involved, it would be the wise thing to do. And that actually we would end up spending as much as we hope to save by trying to add more resources to the project or look at different approaches for developing the system. So we feel like we've got the right approach. We feel like we're taking the right path.
Is this system update going to fix every issue with child support enforcement?
This is a computer system that will help identify those parents who owe child support, who are late paying child support, and it will give users at both the county and the state level new tools to enforce those payments or try to compel those parents to pay. But at the end of the day, a computer system won't impact someone's willingness to pay or ability to pay. Those are decisions that parents have to make.
For now, though, all 46 counties in the state and the Department of Social Services use different computer systems, but the new one would change that. It's taken decades to do this, causing the Palmetto State to accrue more than $145 million in fines, on top of millions more in project cost. The expected completion date is September 30th, 2019.